All right, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I wanted to talk about the tech adoption cycle and disruptive technology. Now, a lot of people focus on politics, which is understandable because it seems like it's some way where you can kind of like change society to help more people or something like that. But it really seems like why the oligarchs and tech bros are so focused on technology is because disruptive technology does more than politics ever can. So let me give like a pretty clear example before I get into it. The birth control pill did more for women's rights than any act or bill in Congress or the Senate or what the president could do or anything in the Supreme Court. Any of those political arms of the government, the birth control pill did more for women and for women's rights than any politician, lawyer, or cop or anybody could do for women. It's just a fact, right? Like pretty much the 1960s style feminist movement couldn't have taken place without the birth control pill, right? And there's tons of disruptive technologies that are fine, like, the ballpoint pen replacing the fountain pen, or the computer keyboard replacing the ballpoint pen, right? But then there's other technologies, like, for instance, the birth control pill, the internet, that completely change the dynamics of society from a previous state to a new state, right? And so you'll notice that there's this tech adoption cycle that they have to like ease us into the tech each time. Like you can see it starting really going back to like the VHS versus Betamax days where, you know, at first, well, VCRs were kind of expensive at first, but they were very optional. And then slowly over time, as the price dropped, they became cheaper and more people got them and more people got them. And then eventually it gets to a point where it's full adoption, right? And everybody has a VCR, even like the poorest people have a VCR or a TV and stuff like that. And that might not be the best example because those kind of are things that they needed to put into society. But then when you get up to like cell phones, you'll notice that that's when it's like very clearly when they first started bringing out cell phones, you know, you get the contract and you get the phone for free. Right. And it was always like, oh, we got a free phone for you. You got like the top of the line free phone. All you do is get a contract. Right. And that's when everybody had landlines. Right. And slowly over time, as everybody got cell phones and people don't even have landlines at their house, now cell phones are extremely expensive and you have to have one. Like you can't not have one. You can't even get a job if you don't have a cell phone. Right. And they slowly, gradually, like people just adopt it, whatever, if you want to say it's a natural thing or it's an advertising thing. Over time, as people adopt the different technologies, it definitely goes from being optional to mandatory. Now, depending on what the technology is, it could be free and optional. Like I said, like VCRs were expensive at first, TVs were expensive at first, but those things were mandatory for the government to put out because they needed to basically brainwash everybody with the TV. So it was basically subsidized by advertising, right? So anyway, what I wanted to kind of focus on is the disruptive period, because as you can see in this chart here, I got a chart, so it has to be true, right? But anyway, you've got this disruption period in between when it's optional to mandatory, right? And that's the period where the like tech oligarchs are the most vulnerable. Like for example, like the VHS versus Betamax thing, right? Where Betamax or VHS could have won out, but obviously VHS was cheaper to produce or whatever, like stuff like that, and it was easier to use, right? And it's similar, you had DVDs versus Blu-rays. right? And then Blu-ray, what was it? It was Blu-ray, and then it was some other thing too. I forgot. But then like Blu-ray video won out, and in those periods, there's a like opportunity for like smaller companies to introduce similar technology to what the tech oligarchs are using, and so that's why they don't want to have like free, like what's it called, dysregulated markets in the tech market, because then it messes up whatever they're trying to do, right? Like for example, Bitcoin was a very good disruptive technology where it's disrupting the banking system in a way that's actually beneficial for the average person, as opposed to like beneficial only for tech oligarchs. And now, will Bitcoin ever become mandatory, or crypto? I think in the future, cryptocurrency probably will become mandatory, some type of digital currency, whether it's the like central bank digital currencies or just using digital currency. Because as more and more transactions become online, eventually it will become mandatory to do basically all your transactions online, and then no one will have cash. Like for instance, they already like are getting rid of the penny, so it's not long till they get rid of all cash. And the cash is basically a nuisance to them anyway. All right, so we're gonna check out this like Sam Altman versus Elon Musk beef thing, because it's kind of details like the whole disruptive technology thing. Now, if you were following this, then you know that Sam Altman and Elon Musk kind of have beef, because Elon Musk and some of the other early investors in OpenAI invested in it in the hopes that it was going to be an open source type of AI system, which seems to me to be the preferable type of AI system. If we're going to do AI, then basically people should be able to look at what's going on in the AI, maybe not completely change or use AI. Obviously, if people are investing lots of money to develop it, but if it's going to be something that's basically controlling society in certain senses, right? Where it's like selecting people for jobs, possibly selecting politicians through internet manipulation and those type of like psyop type of stuff that AI can do, and all types of other uses for AI. It has so many uses that if like people can't just look in it and verify what's going on in it, like just basically outside assessors or neutral assessors, I guess you can say, it kind of does get into like the like dystopian tech oligarch, like where it's like you got like AI overlords overlording society and no one really knows what they're doing or what the real plan is. So to me, it definitely seems like in their scale of going from, zero AI to full AI adoption, the disruptive technology is the open source type of stuff. And that's why like China's developing more like open source type stuff. Maybe they're just doing it for good, or maybe they're just doing because it's disrupting this type of system that we're trying to create, right? Because there's the centralized system that uses all the data centers and all the other stuff, and it's basically just going to take all your data and put it back into the AI, right? And then you have kind of like your open source ones where it'll still be taking your data, but at least you can look at what it's doing, see why it's doing it, or at least, I mean, obviously it's a black box, but so we can see that basically OpenAI went with the like kind of like corporate style instead of being open. Now they're being backed by all the like tech billionaires basically. They just received $110 billion in funding, right? And this type of stuff is going to be used by all the governments. All like Amazon works with the CIA, and now they're connected to OpenAI. They're investing tons of money in it, right? And so you can see how they're trying to push this type of closed source AI on us, where it's like they control all the data centers, they control all of the kind of like guardrails of what the AI can think and what the AI can do and say, right? So that's what they're kind of planning. So in that sense, you kind of want to move towards anything that's open source, right? That's why Bitcoin too is better than most of the other cryptocurrencies because it's open source, right? And so it seems like they're trying to push people away from any type of open source technology. So that's why it seems like that's possibly what, you know, is going to be better for like the average person because that's the one that they don't want. Now, I mean, I could get more into AI and like it really is kind of crazy because it's like similar to in the Matrix movie. Well, if you know the like actual story of the Matrix, where it's like the whole human batteries thing was not the actual real original story. Actually, the thing is that the AI needed human imagination to come up with new ideas. And so even Elon Musk, as much as he might be a little bit better than some of the other tech oligarchs, it seems clear that part of the reason why he bought X or Twitter or whatever is to get all the data so that he could feed it into the AI, right? Because that's one of the main things that the AI needs is like new human ideas and things so that it can take in the information and then figure out how to predict what's going to come next, right? Because you can see like when they feed AI, other AI slop, it just messes the AI up, right? It only works when they get like real human data basically from humans. And what's better than like a platform like X where people are just constantly interacting with each other, putting pictures and videos and talking to each other and all that stuff, right? And it would explain why he bought it when it was not profitable because he's looking more at the disruptive technology aspect of all these things where it's like these people are beyond politics, right? And I mean, we can look up how much money it would actually take to defeat APAC, right? But it's like billions of dollars, right? And so even if you had like small donations, right, it's only like a small percentage of the population that's even into voting, and then even smaller percentage that would give small dollar donations to any politician. And it's like one APAC person is giving like what, like $500 million to one politician, and then they're giving that to all the politicians. I don't know how, you know, unless we get some like real Jewish oligarchs on our team, I don't see how we're gonna like outspend APAC, right? And that's not what they're looking at anyway. They're looking at these disruptive technologies because these disruptive technologies are going to change society way faster and way more than any political action, movement, change in the government, change in policy is going to do, right? Like, example, the plane. The plane did more for immigration than any bill in Congress. The Hart-Celler Act didn't do as much as a Concorde jet. You know, it didn't do as much as people being able to buy some cheap hiking shoes and walk all the way from Venezuela to the United States, right? So, really, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, where it's like, okay, yeah, politics is cool and all, but it really is just a money game. And it doesn't seem like that's the whole point, right? It's like if the people that had the money wanted to change things, but they don't because they're working with the government. Once you have that much money, then you start working with the government. Then the government becomes like your client, basically, right? Because that's really what it is, right? It's like Elon Musk, OpenAI, Amazon. Their their products are so expensive that the only people that can purchase them are governments, right? Like who can buy a SpaceX rocket ship? Nobody, right? That's why Elon Musk like, I don't need patents. He's like, nobody can build this. He's like, and then by the time I'm done building this and building two more versions into the future, the thing that they're copying will already be obsolete. So he doesn't need patents, right? Because he's just going off of technology, because he doesn't care about politics, and that's why, because it's all about the technology. Because the technology moves politics, not the other way around, right? The birth control pill made modern feminism work because they tried it in the 20s before they had the birth control pill, and it didn't work because women were getting pregnant. They tried free sex with no birth control pill, and women just got pregnant and went back home, right? And then when the birth control pill came out, then they could do the 60s style, right? I mean, immigrants were not coming here from Somalia before planes, right? And no matter how many bills you sign, as long as we allow people to visit the country, some of them are going to come, right? So you can see how, yeah, focusing on politics is good, and understanding how politics works is good, but I just don't think that the outspending APAC and all this other stuff is really like a feasible plan. And it seems like that's what they're most afraid of, is that disruptive period where people are switching from one technology to another, and then there's an opening for, basically outside or third party technologists to come in and introduce similar technologies that are more beneficial, right? Like, you can even look at like the internet, right? Like a show like the Alex Jones show, right? Where it's like he came in and kind of disrupted the traditional news cycle in a way where people can now access alternative news, right? And just that alone, based on the internet technology, completely changed how everybody on the internet does news. And, they're selling the products with the news in a way where it's like kind of like promoting the products, and the products are promoting what the person is saying. Like, that's a disruptive technology, right? So that's basically kind of the point. I think you kind of get the point of what I'm talking about. And you can see how, they're all basically doing the same moves, right? Whether it's Sam Altman or Elon Musk or and whatever, Andreessen and Horowitz, right? Or what's his name? The Antichrist dude, whatever, Peter Thiel, right? They're all basically doing the same thing. They're just trying to get ahead of these technologies that are going to change society and get control of them and invest in them in a way where they have like full control over the directions that society is going to go, right? And they're working with the government because the government's the only people that can basically buy this stuff, right? So that's the video. Thanks for watching if you did. Have a good day and peace.